WPM calculators or word per minute calculators are a popular tool that are used for helping people understand how fast they can type. Now we're going to be building a simple tool, but you can take this to code we write today, and you can take it and make it better in your own way. So let's start. So as you can see, I've already created the basic HTML structure. I've given it a title, and I've also linked a style.css and a main.js file. So if we just write hello here, you can see we have it on the browser. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to give the user some text to type, right? So it's just a lorem 10, and we have given the user some text to type. Second, we need the user's inputs. Let's say input of type text. So now we have the user's inputs. Now I want the user to be able to write uh, many lines of words. So what we're going to do is just make the inputs a bit bigger. So we're going to say width, let's say 800 pixels. Sorry. Yeah, so here we have 800 pixels wide. So next, what we want to do is we basically want there to be a timer. So we will give the user 15 seconds to type this whole phrase, and we're going to be calculating how fast he or she could write in a minute. So let's just an h1 and time. We're going to be updating this with JavaScript, so this is just temporary. So now the user could come and type here. You can say lorem ipsum dollar seed amit, and you can just type here. So next thing, we need to show the user the result. I'm gonna use an h2 and say result. So here we have the results, right? So we're gonna be showing the user his result here. This is also temporary, as we're gonna be updating or changing this in JavaScript. So now let's go and actually work with JavaScript. The first thing we want to do is we want to take the user's input, right? So we need to import the input field, document.query selector. Since we already have one input, we can say input. Then we want to not a, we want to set an interval. Now we're going to be setting this interval for 15 seconds. So 1 second is 1000 milliseconds, right? So 15 seconds will be only 15,000 milliseconds. So we're going to be counting the time down from, we're going to be starting uh, from 15 seconds, and we're going to be counting until 0. So we're going to be decreasing that seconds every 1 second. So let's get the time actually. So let's give this a class, say time element, let's say, and we're going to be getting it using the document.query selector, and we're going to be saying time using the class. So after we get the time element, we're going to be basically we're going to say time element dot we're going to be changing its text content, right? So text content equals, let's say for example 15. We're going to be starting from 15. Now we don't need this default text here, so let's remove it, and as you can see it says 15 here. Now what we want to do is we want to decrease this 15 every second. So first let's create an initial uh, okay, so let's just create a time period. Let's make it a mutable variable, and we're going to be starting from 15. So we're going to be decreasing this on every second, on every iteration. We're going to be decreasing this by 1. So just going to show time period here, and we're going to be saying time period minus minus. So that should decrease it every, yeah, so as you can see here, it's counting. But the problem here is after 15 seconds, it will gonna get to a negative, and we don't want that. We just want to clear the interval and stop counting when it gets to 0. Then as you can see here, negative. So we don't want that. So what we can do is we can basically say uh, we can give this set interval to a const timer. Let's say it's the timer, and now this interval is set to this variable timer. Now we can check if time period is equal to 0. uh, if this time period is equal to 0, we can just say clear interval. This is a function in JavaScript that lets out clear set time interval. So we can be passing it the timer, and I believe that's it. Let's just save and check out. So it starts off from 15, 14, it gets down, and when it gets to 0, this should stop. And just 5 seconds remaining to check that. 2, 1. So as you can see, when it gets to 0, it stops. So when it gets to 0, we want to calculate the user's input and evaluate it with that. Uh, so we have the input here from the user, and we want to do some basic math calculations so that we can provide a result, right? So let's just make this multi-line. Okay, let's just say return clear interval. So now we can continue here. So actually, let's actually make this multi-line, right? So because we want to do a couple of stuff. So after the time is out, we just want to calculate the result, right? So we're gonna say calculate result, and this will be a function that we're going to be creating here. And let's say function calculate result. And now what the function will do is basic math. So let's say let's take this into consideration and select this. So if the user can type, let's say, 10 words in 15 seconds that we gave him, how much words, or x will say result, how much words will he be able to type in 60 seconds? Because most people want to know their WPM, meaning word per minute, means every 60 seconds. How much can they type in 60 seconds? So let's start. This is a basic calculation. So this 10 indicates users the number of words user have written, right? So from the input the value. So this is basically what we can say is we can get the words. So number of words, you can say it's input that value, and this will give us the length of how much characters the user have written. But we don't want characters, instead we want words. So we can just say split, and we're gonna be splitting by space because words are separated by space. And after we split it, we're gonna be taking the length. So this will be returning an array, and we're going to be just taking the length of the array. So how many words? So we got the number of words. Let's change this. Number of words. So this is basic crisscross calculation. So if you want to get the result, const result equals it's just the number of words, basic math here, the number of words times 60, and let's make this in a bracket. So then divided by 15, since the time period we allowed is 15, so we don't need this anymore. So now we get the result, but we finally want to return result. And after we return it, we want to assign it to the result variable here. And what we basically want is to take here we have the results, right? We have the result element here, and we want to take that and replace its text with the result. So let's give it a class called result. Okay. Uh, just here const results element equals document dot query selector dot results. Then finally, we just want to say result element dot text content, and let's make this actually string. Let's make it concatenated string. So start you scored your speed. Actually, let's say your speed is, and let's put the result here and say WPM or words per minute. Now, if everything works fine, okay, if everything works fine, we can just return here and it should be completed. So it's counting. So let's just type lorem ipsum dollar seeds, and it says that your speed is 32 words per minute. So it means this means it is working. So some things to consider here, that this is not a complete implementation. There are some problems. The first of all problem is I can do this. I can just spam any words and there won't be any type checking. So as long as I just go, you can see when it hits 0, I'm going to get a very large number, like 212 words per minute, but I'm not actually scoring this because there is no type checking. And uh, so there are a couple of problems such as this. So what's we're going to be doing is I'm going to take the next video and I'm going to show you how we can make this better, both in terms of styling, implementation, uh, and show a better UI, a better type checking, and also this is some dummy text that I got from just typing lorem 10, and this is not ideal because it is very hard to write these texts because uh, they are not everyday words that you can work with. So in the next couple of videos, we're going to be making this WPM calculator better. Thanks for watching today. I hope you learned a thing or two, and I hope from now on, when you see a WPM calculator, you have a better appreciation of the craft that has put behind it to get it working. So until the next video, goodbye.